Every footballer has a story. Some are tales of privilege, of golden pathways smoothed by opportunity. Others, like the journey of Calvin Bassey, are stories of grit, hard work, resilience, and a relentless hunger to make it against the odds. Bassey's rise from a young boy with dreams of football to playing on some of the biggest stages in the world is not just about skill with the ball, it's about perseverance, sacrifice, and staying true to the journey even when the path is uncertain. In this script, we'll walk through the inspirational story of Calvin Bassey, a player who has gone from grassroots football in London to the Premier League and proudly representing Nigeria at international level. His footballing life is a reminder that success is never handed to anyone. It's built step by step, through patience and unshakable determination. Calvin Chinedu Bassey was born on the 31st of December 1999, in Aosta, Italy. But his footballing roots were planted in London, England, where his family later settled. Like many kids growing up in London, football was everywhere. On the streets, in parks, at school, the game was more than just sport, it was culture. For young Bassey, football quickly became more than a pastime. He was naturally athletic, strong, and determined. Unlike some kids who were immediately spotted for their extraordinary flair, Bassey was not the type to dazzle with tricks. Instead, he stood out for his discipline, work ethic, and raw physical power. Coaches often say you can teach technique, but you cannot teach hunger. Calvin had that hunger from the start. His first steps in grassroots football were with local community sides, where he played wherever he was needed: left back, centre back, even midfield at times. That adaptability would later become one of his greatest strengths. But make no mistake, the road from grassroots to professional football is one of the hardest. Thousands of kids in London dream of becoming professionals. Very few actually make it. For Calvin, the difference was his refusal to give up. The big break came when Leicester City spotted him as a teenager. At just 15 years old, Calvin joined Leicester's academy system, one of the most competitive youth setups in England at the time. This was no small achievement. Leicester, fresh off their fairytale Premier League title in 2016, had begun investing heavily in youth development. For Bassey, it was the perfect environment to learn. At Leicester's academy, he was pushed beyond his limits. Training sessions were intense, the competition was fierce, and the standards were sky high. Young players were not just taught technical ability, they were drilled in tactical awareness, professionalism, and mental resilience. But here's where Bassey's story becomes particularly inspiring. Despite being in the academy 4 years, he never made a senior appearance for Leicester City's first team. For many young players, this is the point where dreams collapse. They get disheartened, lose focus, and drift away from football. But not Calvin. Instead, he used that frustration as fuel. He understood that football is about patience. Sometimes the door won't open where you expect it, but that doesn't mean you stop knocking. In 2020, opportunity finally came knocking from Scotland. Rangers FC, under the legendary management of Steven Gerrard, took a chance on the young defender. Calvin signed for Rangers as a free transfer after leaving Leicester, and this was the turning point of his career. At Rangers, Bassey's growth was rapid. The Scottish Premiership is physical, demanding, and unforgiving, the perfect environment for a player of his strength and determination. While some questioned if he was ready, Calvin answered on the pitch. He quickly became known for his versatility, playing both as a left back and as a centre back. His athleticism, speed, and aggression in defense made him a fan favorite. But it wasn't just the physical side, his tactical discipline and ability to learn impressed the coaching staff. The peak of his Rangers career came in the 2021-22 season, when he played a key role in helping Rangers reach the UEFA Europa League final. Against some of Europe's finest teams, Bassey stood tall. His performance in the final against Eintracht Frankfurt was described as colossal by pundits. Though Rangers lost the final on penalties, Bassey's reputation skyrocketed. European scouts were now watching him closely. He wasn't just a promising defender anymore, he was a rising star. In July 2022, Ajax Amsterdam, one of the most historic clubs in Europe, signed Calvin Bassey for around €23 million, making him one of the most expensive Nigerian defenders ever. Ajax's philosophy is rooted in technical football, intelligence, and building play from the back. Back. For Bassey, this was a new challenge. Moving from the physicality of Scotland to the tactical and technical demands of the Dutch Eredivisie tested him in new ways. His time at Ajax was mixed. There were moments of brilliance, where his defensive power shone through, but also moments of criticism, as he adapted to a system that demanded precision in ball distribution and composure under pressure. But here's the inspirational part: instead of crumbling under the weight of expectations, Bassey embraced the challenge. Every tough game, every criticism, became part of his growth. Ajax was not just about football for him, it was about resilience, learning to adapt, and refusing to settle. The dream of every young footballer growing up in England is to play in the Premier League. For Bassey, that dream came true in 2023, when he signed for Fulham FC. This was the full circle moment. The kid who grew up in London, playing in grassroots football, who struggled for chances at Leicester, had finally made it to the Premier League. At Fulham, Bassey quickly established himself as a tough, reliable defender. His strength in duels, aerial presence, and ability to cover ground made him a key part of Fulham's defense. Fans appreciated his passion and no-nonsense defending, and he began to look more comfortable in England's top flight. Playing against the best attackers in the world every week is no easy task. But Calvin Bassey, true to his story, faced it head-on. The same hunger that drove him from grassroots pitches in London now pushed him to prove himself in the world's most competitive league. For Calvin, football has always been about more than just club success. Representing his roots was a dream. Despite being eligible to play for Italy, where he was born, or even England, where he grew up, Bassey chose to represent Nigeria, the land of his parents. In 2021, he made his debut for the Super Eagles, proudly wearing the green and white jersey. For Nigerian fans, his commitment was inspiring. Here was a young man who could have chosen the easier path of playing for a European nation, but instead he chose to honor his heritage. Since then, Bassey has been a regular figure in Nigeria's defense, bringing his strength and determination to the international stage. Playing in the Africa Cup of Nations, AFCON, and World Cup qualifiers, he has continued to grow in stature as a dependable defender for the Super Eagles. What makes Calvin Bassey's football story so inspiring is not just the clubs he has played for, but the lessons behind his rise. 1. Patience pays off. He didn't break into Leicester's first team, but he never gave up. Instead, he waited for the right opportunity. 2. Adaptability. From grassroots to Rangers, from Ajax to Fulham, Bassey showed he could adapt to any challenge. 3. Hard work beats talent. When talent doesn't work hard, he may not have been the flashiest player, but his determination and work ethic carried him. 4. Heritage matters. Choosing Nigeria showed his loyalty to his roots, inspiring millions of fans across Africa. 5. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. Rejection at Leicester wasn't the end, it was the beginning. Calvin Bassey's journey is proof that success in football isn't about instant stardom. It's about persistence, resilience, and faith in your own ability. From grassroots pitches in London to the Premier League, from academy rejection to international football, his story reminds every young player that the path may be long, but with belief and hard work, dreams can come true. Today, when fans watch him defend fearlessly in the Premier League or represent Nigeria, they see not just a footballer, but a symbol of hope. A reminder that the road to greatness is rarely straight, but it's always worth it. Calvin Bassey is not just writing his story. He's inspiring the next generation to pick up the ball, chase their dreams, and never give up.